welcome back to my channel. Cami here. Today is another mystery envelope challenge with some crafty friends here on YouTube. So let's go ahead and see what Danielle sent us, and let's get started on a double page layout. Oh wait, there's a twist. I'm not allowed to use any stamps. Welcome back to another mystery envelope challenge with the Inspiration Collaboration Design Team. Today's mystery envelope comes from Danielle, and she says, Birthday Bash, no stamp challenge. Create a fun birthday themed scrapbook page, any size, or 2 cards with no stamps. Get creative with doodles, die cuts, or handwritten titles instead. And I must say, Danielle really spoiled us this time. We got lots of 6x6 pattern paper, DSP. Look at this little spot. I love that. This is all part of the Wildflower birthday. So you can see that there's this pattern paper here that actually has like pocket card punch cutouts. So you can either use it as a pattern paper. So you can see here that it can either be used as the pattern paper, or it has the cards. So this one she cut as the pattern paper. So we have that, and then this one came from here. You can see it right down there. Maybe. See it right there? That's what this is from that pattern paper. And then I have some tags I could use, or I can use that pattern paper. She gave us so much. I absolutely love this. Look at that gold foil with the cakes and the flowers. I love gold foil. Oh my goodness, I absolutely love this. I actually did not get this collection, so I'm very happy that Danielle got it and is so kind to share with me, because I love it. I just didn't get it for myself. I put all of these little pieces back in her little bag here so that I wouldn't lose them. These are all part of the die cuts. So you get 2 sheets with your suite of all of these little icons. This is on page 43 of your mini catalog. If you have that January through April mini catalog, it's on page 43. We got some of the party dots in 3 different colors. So I have this gold foil banner, some leaves, this awesome cake, a balloon with the gold foil string, a bouquet, another piece of pattern paper, a piece of cake, and then all these little florals. I am so excited to play with this. Thank you, Danielle. Let's clean this up and get started. I am going to start on a double page scrapbook layout because you know me, I'm a scrapper. But if we have any leftover pieces, we will create a card with those. I like starting on white cardstock. This might change as we start building, but it's a nice clean start, especially with all the patterns and gold foils, and it can get kind of busy with that. So we'll start here. I love these tags, so I know I am going to use those on the layout rather than the pattern paper. So I'm just going to cut those out so that I can see what I have. So now those ones are cut off. So if I use this piece, it'll be for the pattern paper. I have so many pattern papers, I'm kind of feeling overwhelmed, and I'm not sure how I want to approach this layout. So I had an idea. If you saw a few videos ago, I created this, and I did kind of this grid style. That video, it was just recent, so if you go back into my videos, you'll find it right away. But I liked how I did the pattern papers, so I'm wondering if I could do something similar and kind of create a grid and have some pattern papers and some photos, and maybe just use little pieces of all of these papers. Maybe do a frame style, or just leave the white as the frame and then kind of go, you know, this far out. Maybe keep that 1/2 inch, and then have some pattern paper, some photos, have some little pieces fill in, some larger pieces, and just have the same colors on both layouts. I'm also wondering if I could get 2 double page layouts out of this. I could keep one a little more birthday themed and use more pinks and the cakes and whatnot there, but then maybe use more of the florals and sprigs and whatnot, and maybe this one for a separate layout and keep that one more springtime themed. So I might end up getting 2 double page layouts out of all this paper. And then I'm looking over at my embellishments, and like this one could go with the spring and this one could go with the birthday. So I could even divide out my embellishments that way too, and bring in some stuff from my stash, of course. But no stamps. I can't use stamps, Danielle said. I created a bunch of my own photo placeholders. I have some 3x3s, 4x4s, 4x6, 3x4s. So I just have a whole bunch here. Did I say 3x3s? So that I can kind of play around with what's going on. This is 3x3. That's good to know. Okay, so something I think might be helpful is if I set all this aside and bring in my T-square ruler and a pencil, and I'm going to mark 1 inch around my layout, just very lightly, so that if I need to erase it, I can. But I want to keep everything within that inch. And then over on this side, I can go all the way to the edge so that it looks like one continuous layout. It's my hope, at least. Oops. Make sure your finger's out of the way so you don't do that. So there is my 1 inch frame. So now I can just kind of bring in all of my photo mats and papers. I want to use these pre-cut ones for sure. And you had seen that I had already kind of laid these out. If I wanted to, I don't know, keep them in a visual triangle, and then maybe bring in, that fits pretty good right there, a 4x4. But then this doesn't line up very well. How big is this? This is 3x3.5. So this would go good next to some 3x3s. A 4x6 photo would fit here. But then we have 2 photos right on top of each other. But that might be okay. So that fits good there. And then a 3x4 would match with that. My title could go there. This is 3x3. This is 3x3. I think I might be getting too many pictures. I could do a strip here. I'm gonna play around with this a little bit more. I laid out some pieces. As you can see, I need to trim a few, but I'm thinking I'm liking this. It looks busy, and it also gets lost behind with the white, like my photo mats do, and typically I like to mat my photos on white. So what I think I'm going to do is build it on some other cardstock rather than white. So I brought in some pink and some green cardstock just from my stash, and they actually tie in pretty nicely with this paper here. So I thought I could do, because there's a lot more pink than green, so I'm thinking I could do an inch-ish of the pink and then just do a really fine frame around all of these. And I do want to lay down so then it would look something like that, which I don't want to lose my placement. It was kind of like a puzzle putting this all together. What if I did all of this on the pink first and did a super fine frame and then did the inch of green? This is Lagoon from Close to My Heart. And that ties in with this color and those lighter, it's almost like a lighter shade of Lagoon in these. What if I switch those around? I'm liking the darker. I wish I had some dark blue, but I don't have enough dark blue cardstock. I found some Lagoon cardstock with the UV coating. I'm going to use that instead of the regular Lagoon, just to add something a little different. So I'm going to trim this down, and I'm going to trim down the pink and cut out the inside of that because I don't need to waste all of that inside. I just need an inch around the 3 edges. I cut the UV coated paper down to 11 and a quarter by 10 and a half. I do want to ink around all of those edges. So I'm going to bring in my sapphire ink and my inking tool, and I'm gonna go around all of these pieces. I'll come back and show you how that looks. I have my background and my photos down. I'm ready to start on my title and embellishing. I am going to use my new Delightful Wishes to cut out the wishing. Right here, it has 2 layers. So I used sapphire cardstock for the background piece, and then I used that pink plaid as the inside. So that is going to layer on top of that. So you get that cricket look without having to get out your cricket. Isn't that so cool? And then for the bottom part of my, or the other part of my title, I am going to use the You a Happy Birthday. And I'm going to stamp that in sapphire on this piece from Danyell. And then I am ready to start with my embellishing. So I'm going to stamp this and get this adhered, and I'll be back to show you how I'm going to embellish. I got this stamped a little crooked, but I think once we add our embellishments, it won't look too bad. So I'm thinking of having it kind of poking out from behind this cake and kind of having the cake maybe overlap this photo a little bit. Kind of like that. And then have the piece of cake kind of down here and hanging off onto the bottom there. And then up top here, I kind of want that to go over both pieces, I think, and have the balloon. And then these floral punch outs maybe coming out from these photos. And then the leaves. Kind of want like the florals originating, embracing on those pictures. Something like that. And then have the balloon kind of coming out of the florals. Could even kind of overlap more. And then over on this side, I want that banner. And I have more floral pieces from Danyell. Don't mind the ink on my fingers. I thought of going down here, but I kind of want just the 3 clusters. So what if I did an embellishment cluster up here and kind of wrapped around that corner? fill in. Maybe switch those two around so that I don't have so much blue and then the pink on the pink. I might switch those and then have that kind of drooping into my photo a little bit. Maybe it's coming up too high. Maybe have one down here more. Something like that. I'll bring the layout closer to show you these embellishment clusters, but I have those completed except for the dots here. I'm going to add a few of these to each cluster. Here is that finished layout. I used some of the mini 3D dimensionals to pop up wishing, and then this flower is popped up, and I didn't remove the adhesive or the backing of the 3D dots where the photos are going to go, so I can tuck those, and then the rest is layered behind flush. Down here I glued these pieces flush, and then this one is popped up. So we can hold 7 photos on this double page layout. These are all put on adhesive or on 3D dimensionals, but I did not remove the paper off of those, so I can tuck my photo underneath. And then these are all glued straight down. If I don't have 7 photos, I could use one of these spots for journaling. I could add my journaling here. I think that would look really good. I want to show you what I have left from that mystery envelope challenge. So I have the pink dots. I didn't use any of those. I have the 2 tags, the flower bouquet, this piece. So I have quite a bit of that left. The back is that, and I really like this one too. I think I might create a second layout. I don't know if it'll be a double page or maybe just a single. Let's clear this up and see what we can make with the leftovers. I'm not sure if this is going to be a single page or a double page layout yet, but this is what I have left for the pattern paper from the mystery envelope. So this one I had trimmed down and just used a partial piece. This is still that 6x6. So these are the same patterns though. So I could do something with that to kind of stretch it. And then I just have this little tiny piece I could have poking through somehow. I think I want to bring in either some green, which this almost looks like our sage color. Otherwise, these have a bunch of the blue, which is like a sapphire. I have some sapphire scraps. What if I did something like that? And I don't know what I would do over on this page if I made it a double. I could use this piece to tear a, I could tear away and then have that peeking through. I could put my photos over here. How big is this? This is just a scrap. This is 5. So if I did 4x4s, and a 3x4. And then I could even do another photo here if I wanted to do like a 4x6 or another 3x4 down here. I do kind of like the boldness that this brings in. I might want to trim it down though. That's a lot of sapphire. I just trim a 1/2 inch off. I cut down some 2x2 photo mats, and then this piece is 2.5. So I thought that could hold those and bring that sapphire over. And then this is that sage color. That's a close to my heart color, but it matches this green perfectly. And then over here is where we'll do this idea that I had. I thought that was more of a left-hand page than that one for some reason. I don't know. So then if I go like this, and then I cut some more of that sage too to line that pattern. Okay. And then we have another 4x4. So then my smaller photos, are kind of like this. And then if I did a more focal photo, so I cut this down a little larger than 4x6. It's 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. And I'm thinking horizontal looks good. You could also do some vertical, but I'm thinking horizontal. And then I want to bring in more of that kind of green. So what if I cut this to kind of go like that? And I could even bring in more of my sage to add more layers behind here. I am liking something like this, and I feel like my colors are, these aren't the same pattern. I might need to trim either one down to make a match. Because I don't know that I want two different, because see how this one's almost like a blue-white in the background, and this one's a cream-white in the background? And I think that'll be noticeable. So I might just trim this one down and add that. And our title could go down here, maybe overlap this a little bit. How long is this? This is 6 inches still, so we'll cut this at 3. So our tear cannot be any bigger than 3 inches. So I'm just going to use my pencil. And we need to leave some room to adhere, so we'll go ahead and start tearing there and there, and then we can tear all the way down to there, but I don't know that I'm gonna tear that much. And then over here, let's do it right about there, I think. So leave some room for adhesive, and then tear to about there. I'm just going to set all of this aside. Just tear. I have my sage, and I am just going to roughly ink inside here. Okay, so then when we put that behind, it just kind of adds a little more dimension back there. I like that. I'm gonna do the exact same thing over here. To add the pattern paper behind, we just wanna see what we want showing. So I think I want more of that orange flower showing up there. So it's gonna go like this. So that's how it's going to be placed. I'm just going to take my Barely Art Glue. I'm just going to run it right around that opening. And then this can just be centered there. And then if you wanted to make sure that it was held in place tight, we could take a little piece of washi tape and we can just tack that right there. So it ain't gonna go anywhere. It's glued down around here. We can even rough that up a little bit more. So that is our left-hand page. I was playing around with this right-hand side, and I liked having the flowers kind of overlapping these two photos. So I didn't want it too high up, and I don't want it covering too much of that photo either. And then this would just be floating. So then I used that piece that I was gonna use behind here. I used that, cut a little banner, and that'll bring some more pink down here, which this side doesn't have a whole lot of pink, but it does have some pink accents. And I could do my title in pink too, which I thought could go down here, but I'll get to that. And then I have this little sentiment block here that I thought could kind of help brace those flowers as well. Maybe like that. And I don't know what sentiment to use yet, but I could always stamp that after I get my photos. Over here, I have another sentiment spot that I could possibly use, I'm not sure, but I'm not loving these layers. So I'm wondering if I just want to use the one and then maybe bring these in. Maybe do something like, why is that getting stuck? Maybe do something like that. And I could even have those kind of angle outward. And then to cover that little spot, I could bring in a sentiment block. I have larger ones of those too, like this. Since so much of this pattern is hidden, I could gut out the center of that. Let's try that. So then I could do this still, and then maybe even bring some down here instead of bringing in that plain. Kind of use that as a subtitle maybe. I used my mini alphabet dies to cut out some pink letters, and the nice thing with this die is it cuts out all the letters at once, plus duplicates of the most common letters. So a lot of times you just have to run it through once and you have your entire title. I used documenting the day to stamp out day, and I did that in my Sundance. Sundance coordinates pretty well with this orange, and it's not directly next to it. So I think it just ties that in nicely. So I stamped day with that. And then, as I had shown, I used the mini alphabet to do, I actually did a beautiful day, but I don't know that I liked how a looked next to it. So I might just do beautiful day. I have that on a banner right now, and I'm not sure if I want to keep the banner either. So I am going to play around a little bit with that. I decided to move day over to this side. I thought it looked okay to have my layers showing here. I could always add an embellishment cluster here of more flowers, but I don't have these exact colors in my stamps, and whatever I do to this side, I want to do to this side, and I don't know if I want to bring any stamped florals over to this side, and I don't have any more of this, so I thought it looked better to have my layers kind of showing here. And then I did do a beautiful. Did I spell beautiful right? It looks different. I keep looking at it twice to make sure I spelled it right. But yeah, so brought my title over to this area and a beautiful up top. And I can fit tons of photos on here. This one I'll probably print with the white frame. And then these I don't have to print with the white frame. And if I have even more, I could always do 2 vertical photos here. I could do journaling in one of these. I would just need to cover up my sizes. But all of my photos then will be cut slightly smaller than the photo mat so that I can keep that white frame. I love the tearing I did on this. I miss doing that. I need to do that more often. These little dots here were part of a card kit that were left over in my stash, so I just added those to the tags instead of some string or anything like that. There's that tear again. I love that gold foiling. I did not adhere this down completely so I can slide my photos underneath. There's some more of those dots, and then once I add my photos I can stamp something here that goes more along with my photos. And when I add photos, sometimes I adjust my embellishment. Sometimes I add a little bit more to tell the story. So stay tuned. Hopefully I get some pictures soon that I can add to all of these naked layouts. I always enjoy doing it in bulk though. I print all my photos and then I just pick up the camera and start adhering, and it's actually so satisfying just to get a whole bunch of layouts done at once. So stay tuned for when I do have photos for this layout. Thank you again, Danielle, for this wonderful mystery envelope. I loved everything that was in it. I was so excited to play with them. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. The Inspiration Collaboration Design Team playlist is linked down below, so be sure to check out how the other ladies used these products. Until next time, live a life worth scrapping. Bye, guys.